Hey everybody, welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel, #MovieBay. I am MovieBay, and in this video, I'm going to be reviewing and recapping Hulu's newest miniseries entitled Candy, which is based off of a true American crime. Stay tuned. Before we get into the video though, I want y'all to drop down and hit that subscribe button, because here on MovieBay, I do reviews, reactions, and commentary to movies and television. And if that is the type of content that you come on YouTube searching for, you might as well hit the subscribe button. Alright, now let's get into it. I'm going to start off with a spoiler-free review, followed by a quick recap of the series, and then I'm going to follow it up with my personal opinions about the true life story, the case, etc. So here we go. Alright, so like previously stated, Candy is an American crime drama that was created by Nick Acosta and Robin Vaith. Jessica Biel is the executive producer, and she also stars as the real-life Candy Montgomery. Now, Candy Montgomery was accused of brutally murdering her best friend, in quotation marks, we'll get to that later, Betty Gore, in 1980s Texas. Yep, a Texas story. Well, the first episode dragged a little bit. The first episode is like we're introducing you to the scene, introducing you to the characters really briefly, but I felt like it could have been done in a less boring way, if that makes sense. But they did their job by hooking you at the end of the episode that makes you want to continue to watch the series. But they were losing me until the first episode ended, so they got the job done. I do feel like it was predictable, and I know what you're thinking. Well, duh, MovieBay, it's based off of a true story. Well, I personally did not look up the actual story until I was done with the miniseries, because I didn't want to spoil the miniseries for myself. So I do feel like it was predictable, but the writing was like, you think you know what's going to happen. They kind of throw you off course, but then they let it happen, so like your prediction comes true anyways. So I feel like writing wise that was pretty good, because it's like, oh nope, you thought, but oh nope, just kidding, you were right. So I thought that was kind of interesting, because I do like to obviously try to figure things out, see what's gonna happen. The acting was bad at some points. It kind of seemed like a long dramatization of Snapped. Pablo S., and I will call him Pablo S. because I do not know I can't pronounce his last name, but he played Porn Stash in Orange is the New Black, and he also played in Den of Thieves, where I fell in love with him. But sometimes he can tend to overact, and it kind of pulls you out of the scene a little bit. And then there is a scene at the last episode where they play out Candy's side of the story. And oh my God, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it was so bad. Like, the acting was so bad. The direction was bad. It just looked bad. I was like, this is getting very parody. Like, it's starting to look like a parody. So that's why I was like, it's kind of like a long episode of Snap. I feel like a part of this movie would be considered gruesomely disrespectful to the victim, because they don't show it happening. Well, they do, but they, like, at the end, they kind of zoom in on the fake body, and I was just like that. Out of respect for the victim and their family, I probably would have left it obscured. And that's coming from me. Like, horror is my favorite genre. But I just felt like it was kind of disrespectful. Overall, I feel like the series could have been longer and fleshed out a little bit more to like at least 10 episodes. That way you get to really focus on setting up the characters in their lives. They did do a good job in the short amount of 5 episodes. But I feel like I started to care or get invested in the lives of the Montgomerys and the Gores a little bit too late in the series. Like, literally maybe episode like 4, maybe 3, if I'm being nice. But I didn't really like have any type of connection, I guess, to the characters. And they kept calling Betty Gore and Candy best friends, even like when I read about the actual true story, but in the series they did not depict any type of friendship for real. So just based off of like news articles and reports, I feel like, yeah, I thought they were friends, but in the show it's not giving friendship. Okay, it's not giving Saweetie and Doja Cat. So that is my spoiler free review over the Hulu miniseries Candy. I do advise you to go watch it, especially if you love true crime. You can get over the bad acting because, like I said, if you like true crime, you're used to that anyways. So now I'm going to go into a short recap of the show. All right, so like we said, we get introduced to Candace Montgomery. So we're following her around a day in her life, YouTube vlog shit. No, I'm just kidding. We find out that she's a mom, a churchgoer, and very popular in the community. Now, Betty's daughter is staying with Candace's family. And because their daughters are friends, I saw more of a friendship between the kids than the moms, but I digress. And Betty's daughter forgot her swimsuit, so Candace goes to retrieve the swimsuit and comes out soaking wet. We later find out that Betty is dead and Candy is the one who murdered her. Now, let's dive into the Gores real quick. We meet Betty Gore, who is an ex-school teacher who was let go due to overpunishment of a child. And Alan, her husband, travels a lot for work. We quickly get introduced to Betty's insecurities about herself, about her body, about her marriage. She wants to foster another child, and then that goes terribly wrong. And you can just sense that something is not right in that marriage. We also then meet the Montgomerys. We meet Pat and Candace, aka Candy Montgomery. Now, Pat is like square. He's so square, but he's great with the kids. He literally looks like, I think it's Spock from Star Trek. I don't know. I don't watch it. I just know the reference, and that's what it's giving, honey. And Candace is like, she notices this. She lives in a sex-deprived marriage. And then one of her good girlfriends just divorced her husband for being unhappy and is now in a steamy, hot relationship. So Candy is getting tempted to step out on her husband. That is when she seeks out Alan Gore at volleyball practice and says, yo, I want to have sex with you. Let me know what you think. Now, Alan is shocked by Candy's offer, but he does contemplate it because they go and meet up later to weigh out the pros and cons. They had pros will both be fulfilled. It'll probably help our marriages. Cons was obviously guilt for ending our marriages and possibly catching feelings. So, Candace had a couple of rules. One, we had to meet up on your lunch break in a sleazy hotel in Dallas. I thought that was funny. 2, you can never call the house. And 3, the moment somebody starts to catch feelings, we got to end it. We got to cut it off right there because that is when people start to get hurt. Alan still doesn't know what he wants to do. He goes home, talks to his wife, and she reveals that she is pregnant. That is when Alan was like, you know what? Yep, I'm going to take Candy up on her offer because I'm going to need something to do for 9 months. I'm going to need something to do. Now, like I said previously, this is based on true events. We don't really know what conspired between the three, the love triangle. However, this is what's going on in the series, okay? So, boom. Candy and Alan starts to have their affair. Candy, though, confides in one of her friends, by the way, that she is indeed sleeping with Alan. And she is starting to catch feelings for him, so she decides to cut off the affair. Now, Alan is like, no, ma'am. I need you. I need sex. I need this. And we're not going to stop. And they proceed to have sex again. After that, Betty gets introduced to a marriage counselor, and she decides to take her and her husband to the classes in hopes to not really save their marriage, but save their marriage, because like I stated earlier, we know that, some things just weren't right. She was mad insecure, and we found out Betty was the one who cheated on Alan prior to him even having an affair, according to the show. And I was like, well, that explains why she's insecure, because that's usually what happens. The cheater is the one who's always insecure about their partner cheating on them. Don't ask me how I know. So they go to marriage counseling, and their marriage is getting better. During the midst of their marriage counseling, Candy and Betty, they're somewhere, and that's when Candy finds out that Betty is pregnant. And that Betty and Alan have been going to marriage counseling. So Candy, being the weird ass bitch she is, decides to throw a baby shower for Betty. You're sleeping with this girl's husband, and now you want to throw a baby shower for Betty? You're weird. So Alan decides to cancel their last two rendezvous, and Candace is starting to get upset about it. She is getting... At the baby shower, she feels like Betty knows that they are sleeping together because the vibe is off. Afterwards, Alan decides to end the affair with Candy because my marriage is going good. We're happy again. I don't really need this release anymore. And then it's over. No, wait a minute, Alan, because when I tried to end it, you said no. If I were Candy, if I was crazy, I'd be like, no. It's mine. It's mine. Because when I tried to end it, you said no. So no, it ain't gonna be that easy. It ain't over when you say it's over. What you thought? So the show really jumps around. So I'm trying to keep it in chronological order to where it makes sense. But if you watch it, then you know. Like, it jumps back and forth from past to present. And we do get to see Candy going through guilt and hiding evidence and stuff like that. So anyhow, after the affair is ended, Betty wants to know why Candy has stopped talking to her, and Candy's like, oh girl, I'm just busy, it's nothing, because like I said, their daughters are really close friends. So that leads us up to the day of June 13th, 1980. The church is having a pageant, but like I said, that their daughters are sleeping over together. Candy goes to Betty's house to retrieve a swimsuit for her daughter. And that is when, obviously, details are murky. I won't tell you the end until the end. So let's jump ahead a little bit. Alan is out of town. Betty is not answering the phone. He had been trying to reach her for the past 13-ish hours. So he gets multiple neighbors to go over and see, is she home? Is she okay? Did she fall? 3 of the neighbors walk in, and they see, the baby is crying because they have a newborn. Baby is crying so long that her voice is hoarse. They found blood in the bathroom, and then they go into the utility closet, the utility room, where they find Betty. They found her butchered, if we're being honest, but they told Alan she had been shot because it was obviously a very brutal scene. Trying to keep it chronological order. Police obviously come in and investigate. They found that Betty had been hacked 41 times to the face, defensive wounds on her arms and hands. So yeah, they obviously bring it to court. And because Candace was the last person to see Betty alive, she is the primary suspect. Oh, yeah. And she was sleeping with Betty's husband. Duh. Because Alan shares that with the police, and they bring Candace in for questioning, and she confirms, even though their stories are conflicting. He says that he ended the relationship, and she said that she ended the relationship. So the police are onto her from the start. They see she has bruises and cuts on her feet, and her fingernails are broken. So kind of signs of I would say, struggle. Like, they are really on to Candy. So they bring the case to court. Candy maintains her innocence up until she decides to tell her lawyer the truth, and they decide to go for the truth, quote unquote. And they decide to go for a self-defense plea. The last episode consists of the actual court case. We find out that Alan contradicted the story that he told the police about him ending the affair because Candy fell in love with him. On the stand, he says that they ended the affair amicably. I was like, you fake ass bitch. Because one, even if, like, why would you do that? Because you owe it to your daughter to tell the truth, to get justice for her mom. Like, Alan really made me mad. We also find out that Candy decides to plead self-defense. She admits to murdering Betty, but it was, quote unquote, self-defense. She tells her story that while she went to go pick up the swimsuit, Betty confronted her about having an affair with her husband. This is the scene I was talking about that was so fucking horribly acted. Betty confronts Candy about having an affair with her husband. She goes to retrieve an axe and says, I have to kill you, like, never see my husband again, da-da-da. They struggle over the axe, and Candy has a flashback of her mom when Betty tells her to hush, or to shh, and that is when she blacks out and starts hitting Betty with the axe 41 times. So that is Candy's story that she tells on the stand. So her defense attorney had the self-defense. They had the psychologist attest to the hypnosis therapy that he did on Candy, and that she had pent-up aggression from her mom, and that Betty triggered that aggression, we also find out that Candy slept with... They never said verbatim, but I'm pretty sure it was her best friend's husband after Alan and her ended their affair. But the defense was like, you know what, that's a good thing because it shows that you weren't stuck on Alan. So it helps your defense case. Long story short, actually this is the end. Candy gets off. She gets acquitted of murder. Now... and Alan ended up marrying another one of the suburban housewives in their community. That Alan is a piece of work. I was rooting for you, Alan, but no. All right, so now I am going to get into facts about the case and where I believe they went wrong. All right, so right now I'm going to talk about how the state of Texas dropped the ball on this one. First and foremost, Betty Gore was assaulted 41 times with a 3-foot-long axe, leading to her death. She had defensive wounds on her arm and her hands. And attacks to her face, okay? Obviously, this was a crime of passion because nobody just attacks the face for no reason. I feel like the state of Texas messed up in 2 instances. One, they should have never charged Candy with murder 1. Murder 1 is premeditated murder. First degree murder. Premeditated is planned out. They should have charged her with murder 2, which means malice, but not premeditated. And they should have done murder 2 with extreme indifference to human life, hence the 41 times assaults with an axe. They also should have charged her with child endangerment because an infant was left unattended to for 13 hours, and it took them 13 hours to find the body. And they also should have charged her with a third degree felony of altering, concealing, and destroying evidence because she tried to clean up the crime scene that she admitted to in court, and she showered off afterwards and continued her day. A defense that is usually used against murder 2 would be insanity and self-defense. Now, this goes into the jury. The jury was made up of 9 women and 3 men. They definitely needed more men on that jury because men would never go for insanity, ever. All the science, the psychology, the hypnosis and shit. Oh, I was triggered by my mom. Men on that jury would have never gone for that. Okay, because the state, the lawyers and the police weren't even going for that. So they thought, nobody's going to believe that. Well, you needed more men on that jury to think the same way that you thought. So in my personal opinion, I don't think justice was served, because even if it was self-defense, they had so many more charges they could have added to get her some type of time in prison. Murder 2 in Texas is, I think, 2 to 99 years. So she would have served something. You needed child endangerment, and she tried to clean up the crime scene. The state of Texas really dropped the ball on this case. But nobody really knows what happens on June 13th, 1980, aside from Betty Gore, Candace Montgomery. They are the only two people who know what happened, one of which is no longer with us. So what did y'all think about this movie? Go ahead and like this video if you enjoyed my review / recap. Leave a comment down in the box. Did you like what? A comment down in the box? Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Did you like the mini series? What do you think about the state of Texas and the real true crime story? Be sure you subscribe for more content just like this, and I'll see you next time. It's a date.